Now, today we're going to be talking about playing the victim and how to stop acting like the victim every single time. Now, when I say playing the victim, or when someone says you're always playing the victim, what does it mean? It means that you're always trying to portray yourself as like a victim of circumstance, if it makes sense. Like, whenever something happens, you're the first person to say, well, this is always happening to me, or well, I knew that this was gonna happen. Like, you always try to victimize yourself based on a situation or someone. When it comes to relations with someone, you're always trying to play the victim. You're always trying to avoid taking the responsibility, and instead you're blaming, always playing the blame game, always ready to put it on someone or put it on something but yourself. So sometimes we have people in our lives that every single time that they go through something, every single failure that they have someone to blame it on. It has to be something or someone and not them. You've never had this person taking accountability for something that happened or something that they had been through. Even if it's something that involves them, they still find a way to blame it on someone. That's a very typical example of someone acting like the victim or trying to play the victim. Or if you're that type of person, then yes, you are trying to play a victim, or you're trying to make yourself a victim of that situation. Playing the role of a victim, or just generally trying to victimize yourself, is something that I have personally had to work on, and that's why this topic is near and dear to my heart, because I worked on that myself. Okay, I got to a stage where I was asking myself, why do you always want to feel like, well, why me? Well, why me? Well, why is this not happening for me? Or, well, why is this happening to me? And I had to reprogram my mind out of that mindset. I just generally had to get myself out of feeling like the world was against me, or anything was happening for everybody else but me. And if you feel like that, it's definitely trying to play the victim every single time, or trying to find ways to say that things are not happening for you because of you or because of something. So with that being said, I'm going to give you a few tips on how you can get out of that victim mindset. If you're the type of person that is quick to always say that, well, why are things not happening for me? Well, I've always known that I'm not meant to get good things in life. Like, stop talking like that to yourself. Stop giving yourself that type of energy, because that's not what you want, right? So the first thing that I want to say is, you want to start by acknowledging how you feel. That is one big thing for me that I have learned over the past few, or maybe over like a year. Okay, just sitting with your feelings and emotions and acknowledging that this is actually how you're feeling. You need to allow yourself to go through the emotions. And I think I've said this before, but you need to allow yourself to feel the feelings that you're feeling. Recognize how you feel. Take your time and ask yourself, why do I even feel like that? Okay, sitting with that emotion gives you a lot of time to process the emotion. It gives you a lot of time to see how it makes you feel, and then you can start to think about the why it's making you feel like that. But you need to start by acknowledging the fact that you even feel like that. You need to start by acknowledging the fact that things are going to trigger you, and when they do, you need to know where the trigger is coming from, what's the trigger is, and like how it's making you feel. And to add on to that, you want to go through this emotion without any judgment. That's why when I say acknowledging the feeling, it's not just acknowledging to bash yourself, or acknowledging to say that, well, just saying mean things to yourself in general. You want to acknowledge from a place of grace, and from a place of just trying to learn more about yourself and learn how you can do better and just be better, if it makes sense. And the next thing that I'm going to say is taking responsibility for our actions, or just being generally accountable for the things that we do. And that, I think that generally goes hand in hand with maturing as a person. But I've come to realize that not everybody matures as fast as they should. But that is so true, right? I have come to realize that I'm almost 30, and I've come to realize that not everybody who's almost 30 is matured as I am. And sometimes it's hard to live with because you have to sort of like compromise to the level of maturity that people have around you. But taking responsibility and just being accountable is something that's hard to do. Just being able to acknowledge the fact that you did something and it was wrong, and being like a little ashamed of it, or I don't know, but like taking responsibility is tough, okay? But the more you grow up, the more you realize that it's more childish to not take responsibility. It's more childish to act like you don't know what you did, okay? Like it makes things a lot more easier when you take responsibility, when you accept your wrong, and when you make effort to right the wrong or to not even repeat that wrong. It makes the world a better place in general, you know? So taking accountability for your action is such a huge step in stopping that victimization that you're doing to yourself, because once you start owning up to your own wrongs, owning up to the things that you're doing wrongly in your life, it's a lot more easier to stop blaming everybody else for the things that are happening in your life. Once you start recognizing the things that you are doing wrong, then you can actually start stopping the whole blame game. Now, the next thing I want to say is the fact that you're always blaming things on people definitely stems from a place of negative thinking, okay? Because the fact that you're always so quick to judge, the fact that you're always so quick to assess a situation and find the cause of that situation, the fact that you're always in a mindset of, well, things are not always happening for me. Well, I knew that this was not going to go well. It all stems from a place of negative thinking, whether we like it or not, okay? That is all fear talking, okay? And sometimes fear is not always a bad thing, because sometimes fear can definitely protect you from certain situations, but that's not always the case. You want to stop that negative thinking. You want to try and work on your mindset. I would say this a million and one times. Your mind, everything starts from your mind. Everything starts from up here. Everything starts from how you're thinking. Your mind is a very great tool. Whether we like it or not, a lot of the things that we're thinking is what is manifesting in our lives. So if you're going to stop thinking negatively, you're going to start speaking from a lot more confident place, a lot more secured place. You're going to be a lot more secured in yourself. You're going to have a lot more self-trust. The negative thinking definitely plays a role in making anyone feel like they're a victim, because why are you thinking that things are working for people and not you? And again, we've all been there before. This is not even calling someone out. This is about everybody. We have all been at a stage in our lives where we felt like things are not working for us, or things don't work out for us, or things are taking way longer than they should. And you try to put it try to relate it to something else that happened in your life, and you try to make a whole big deal out of it. It's all from a place of negativity. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm only trying to say that it all stems from a place of negative thinking, and you want to try and work on that negative pattern of thinking, because taking yourself out of that pattern can definitely help you feel a lot more good with yourself, a lot less victim-y, if it makes sense. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is setting boundaries, because this is so important, okay? 9 times out of 10 is because you're always in people's businesses, because you're always sharing your opinions with people and trying to get a second opinion from people. That's why you're always feeling like a victim, because then you're not making all your decisions by yourself. Decisions that are meant for you, people are making them for you. So 9 times out of 10, when they fail, you feel like you are not the reason. Well, I didn't make this happen because I didn't make that decision. They made the decision for me, And again, this is something that we have all done. We have all referred or tried to reach out to someone to try to help us make a decision, because we didn't want to make that decision by ourselves. It's something that happens every single time. But one big boundary that I'm setting, or that I have set, okay, is any life-changing decision in my life, I'm going to make it by myself, okay? Because I don't want anybody to be in charge of deciding how my life and my happiness goes in the next few years. I don't want to go around blaming people for something that didn't happen or did happen in my life. And I think that is such an important thing. Setting boundaries for yourself is key, okay? Learning to say no and just maintaining a healthy boundary between you and the people around you is very, very important to helping you work on that victim mentality. Because again, if you're in charge of a lot of the things that are happening in your life, you can definitely stop blaming people and start taking accountability for yourself. Okay, now the next thing I'm gonna say, which I'm also very passionate about, is try to be solution oriented. Try to be the type of person that is always finding solutions instead of complaining so long about a problem. How can you solve that problem? What can you do to make it a little better, if not totally better? Okay, when something happens in your life or when something goes wrong, one rule that I give myself is that when something happens or when something goes wrong, okay, I have a 5-minute rule. I take 5 minutes and I just do a pity party for myself. If I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna cry. If I'm gonna just be mad about it, I will be mad about it. And then after 5 minutes, I have to find a solution. Okay, I had to start thinking of a solution. Even if I don't have like set in stone solution, I'm gonna start thinking of ways to make myself feel better, or ways to just try to alleviate the stress or solve the situation that I have going on. So you could try that, because obviously I know that there's no way you can always like quickly pick yourself up when something happens. You need time to process it, and not everything can be processed within 5 minutes, of course. But don't allow yourself to stay in the mindset of thinking about all the things that went wrong. Try to find a way to quickly get out of that and think of all the things that you could do differently to make it be better for yourself. And this definitely helps you to become a lot more stronger, or like just generally resilient in solving problems or just approaching everyday life issues. Because you know for a fact that one thing that I say always about myself is I would always figure it out. Okay, like I trust myself enough to know that no matter what situation I go into, I would always figure it out. I would always figure it out. And I trust myself enough to know that. And you need to get there. If you're not already there, you need to be able to get to the stage where, the more you practice, finding solutions and just generally trying to trust yourself to solve a situation, the more you feel confident in yourself to pivot when something happens. So definitely try to be a lot more solution oriented. Don't take time dwelling on the things that went wrong and the whatnots. Allow yourself to do that little pity party and then move on to how you can find solutions to make it better. Okay, and the next thing that I'm gonna say is about gratitude. Okay, this is also such a big point for me, because trying to focus on all the things that are good in your life is a very good way to always stay positive, always be appreciative of your life. And sometimes you might not always have the energy to do that. Okay, I am a mom, I have a family, I'm an adult. I know that sometimes life might not always present you with opportunities to always be happy or always be yippee yappy and what I'm talking about. Sometimes you might not always have that energy. So one thing that works for me is I'm going to be grateful for everything in my life that I can be grateful for. And that is always, not even could be, always my family, my kids, my husband. They always give me a reason to be grateful. So find things in your life that make you feel grateful. It could be your mom. It could be your little shelter that you have, which is your home. It could be your car that gets you from point A to B. It could be the job that you have right now that's paying the bills. Whatever you have that for a fact that without it, your life will not be the same. But then it's something that's like, I don't know, it's like something that you overlook because it feels like an everyday thing to you. It feels like a basic thing to you. Try to be grateful for those things, okay? They not only make you feel positive, but gratitude opens doors for a lot of things in your life. It shows God that you're grateful for what you have. And so if they give you more, you'll be even grateful. You know what I'm saying? So in general, practicing gratitude is a big thing for me. Okay, practicing gratitude plays a huge role in making your life better overall. So try to practice gratitude, try to be grateful for the things that you have, and then try to find solutions for the things that are not going so well. And then the last thing that I'm going to say is, if you need some sort of support, if you need to speak to someone, try to speak to someone, okay? If you have, I know that we all have childhood traumas that links to a lot of the things that we do as adults right now, whether we like it or not. A lot of the things that we do right now, majority of them are linked to what we went through as kids or some of the traumas that we've gone through in our childhood. So if you need some sort of support, if you need some sort of therapy to get through the mindset that you have or the stage that you're at, please seek that support. If you have someone that you trust that gives you advice without having to pay for therapy, please reach out to them. But have a good support group around you, people that you know that are not going to be quick to judge you, but are there to watch you grow. They are always there. You know, it's like a shoulder to lean on because they're also growing themselves and they know that growth is an important part of life. So always try to surround yourself with positive people, people who are going to support you on your journey, and then people who are just going to cheer you up and, you know, just have supportive people in your life. Playing the victim role is something that we've all done. It's something that, you know, is not really cute. It's not a cute look. I'm going to say that it's not a cute look. So try as much as possible to work on that. And I've come to realize that self-development is something that we do as we move on in life. So every single day, strive to be a better version of yourself. Every single day, strive to, you know, achieve greater than you have right now. So yeah, I hope that these points are helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I love you. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. 'Cause you are the only one.